Hi Zeba and hi Arjun. Thank you for accepting our invitation to be a part of Next Gen Entrepreneurs Beyond Dream series. So we are having today with us Zeba Khan and Arjun Gurudev. So they are the co-founders of Xenvis Solutions. So Xenvis Solutions is founded in 2019. It's a startup who focuses on they focus on providing advanced visualization solutions. So, for example, for enterprises applications using augmented reality, virtual reality, and more. And they offer solutions for use cases such as training, remote inspections, security purposes, safety across the vertical markets such as energy, logistics, education, healthcare, telecommunication, construction, and more. So we are happy to have you both with us today. Thank you for joining. And we'd like to know more about yourself. Both of you, please introduce yourself. And also, we'd like to know how it all started, the journey with Xenvis, please.
Zeba, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So, first of all, thank you, Mayuri, for having us on this program. Thank you for inviting us to do this. So, my name is Zeba. I am an electrical engineer, and I spent the first 8 years of my career in a hardcore manufacturing business, working on engineering, materials and manufacturing of those materials. Then we were Arjun and I at the time knew each other, so we're discussing how can we do something in the digital space, and build solutions which have an impact. So that's how we sort of came around, and we did this. Of course, we'll talk a little bit more about our exact journey and how we stumbled upon this.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm the CEO and founder of the company Xenvis. And what I do is basically lead the business, the strategy, and those are sort of my main focus areas. Over to
Okay.
Arjun to introduce himself.
Thanks, Zeba. So, like Zeba mentioned, Mayuri, thank you for having us. From my perspective, I have about a little more than 20 years of experience in the IT industry.
Okay.
Spent a lot of my time with big corporate IT companies, and started working as an independent consultant back in 2013. And like Zeba mentioned, we got together in early part of 2019 and started ideating about what could be the next big thing. And the thing that that resonates most for us is, an old saying that says, a picture is worth 1,000 words. We want to take it a little bit further, and we say that, a picture is worth 1,000 words, a movie is worth 1,000 pictures, and an interactive experience is worth 1,000 movies put together.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we are here to the next interactive experiences that people can use. So
Yeah, that's quite nice, and thank you for giving a brief introduction. And like coming to Zenvis, as you mentioned, how it all started, why was the focus, concentrated towards, this extended reality?
Yeah, so
yeah,
we wanted to, have, build solutions which have impact in today's world, but also having that cutting edge technology, right? So we wanted to really, bring in that change and impact. So like Arjun rightly said, pictures worth 1,000 words. So visualization technology is worth millions, and by that scenario. So what we
Right.
wanted to do is actually build solutions where people just by using these solutions can either quickly, train themselves or can quickly learn and also, become, more effective, more productive, and things like that. So that's what we were focusing on. And what better way to do that than visualization?
Right.
Right. So when you have these visuals, it also reduces the impact on, having to know, let's say, a language like English. So India is a country where there's so many languages, vernacular languages are plenty. So also, one of our ideation, the main thing was how do we, even enable people who don't really know English very well to, be on a level playing field. And again, visualizations is the best way to do that. So you could read sentences about something, but if you actually see it, that's when you can really understand things better. So,
Right.
so that is how the whole journey started. And of course, that's when Arjun and I started discussing how, what solutions do we build? How do we, productize it? How do we, make them scalable? So
Okay.
I'll hand it over to Arjun to sort of talk a little bit more about that.
Yes.
I think that was the perfect use case, Zeba. So in terms of what we spoke about, Mayuri, so the idea was that we wanted to take visualization to people that don't have access to
Mm-hmm.
um, either textbooks that are not in their local language. So
Okay.
education is one of our core focus areas.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see how every child can get the same experience that somebody sitting in a tier one urban city
Right.
has.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see how using maybe a smart glass can allow a child to experience, let's say, looking at it and reading about a
Mm-hmm.
volcano, but having to take a look
Yes.
at
Mm-hmm.
looking at a volcano and how it actually erupts and being able to
Mm-hmm.
interact with it provides a whole different experience for the child, and he'll never forget that in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So education was and continues to be one of the core focus areas for us.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, we need to sustain ourselves as an organization. So we
Mm-hmm.
also focus on providing solutions to verticals like manufacturing, construction, and real estate as well. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We can see that you're industry agnostic in nature. The company itself is like you work with multiple industries, from energy, logistics to tourism and more. So, is it all like a custom-made solutions you provide to the clients, or you have any proprietary platforms from which, a template platform from which you, extrapolate to the industry of need, or how is it model works?
So we have a standard platform that
Mm-hmm.
most customers will have a use case for.
Mm-hmm.
So we have two products which are built on the platform.
Okay.
And I'll let Zeba talk in detail about it. But the platform itself is
Mm-hmm.
agnostic, like you rightly mentioned. So the
Mm-hmm.
solutions are applicable to multiple industries and multiple verticals.
Mm-hmm.
But how each industry or how each vertical uses those solutions may change.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
I'll hand over to Zeba to talk about the two products that we have on the platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so the products that so Xenvis has a platform. The main products that we have on it are focused around, enabling remote collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
workflow optimization, and
Mm-hmm.
visual inspections. So these are the
Okay.
three main areas. The solutions are focused around that. And as
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking about these solutions, you can understand that they're applicable across sectors, right? Remote
Right.
collaboration is
Mm-hmm.
something that every industry, every sector needs. So
Mm-hmm.
what we do essentially is the product connects two people, and they'll be able to communicate using augmented reality technology. So
Mm-hmm.
that makes the whole collaboration process a lot more efficient. So it can be used for you can remote training, it can be used for instant troubleshooting, maybe
Mm-hmm.
remote inspections, carrying out remote maintenance activities.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the industry and what their pain point is, they can use the same product in multiple ways.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is the advantage of our solution. So we've built it in such a way that it is applicable across sectors, and that's what makes it truly scalable.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so then also we have a solution around workflow optimization. So any process that you have, how do you make it more efficient? How do you reduce the errors which take place?
Okay.
Manual errors.
Mm-hmm.
So these are solutions that guide people on the
Mm-hmm.
field on how to carry out activities, and it also records it while they're performing these tasks. So
Mm-hmm.
thereby also making documentation a lot easier.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's
Mm-hmm.
what we call creating of sort of visual based documentation instead of
Mm-hmm.
written and report based documentation. So
Mm-hmm.
converting it into that. So bringing in overall efficiencies into the organization, irrespective of which sector they're in,
Mm-hmm.
to carry out any task. So that is across the platforms, and AI-based visual inspections anywhere where you can either use smart glasses, look at an object, and
Mm-hmm.
if it automatically can tell you if the object
Okay.
is okay or not okay, because visual
Right.
inspection is again common across industries, whether it is
Mm-hmm.
in automotive or it's in energy,
Mm-hmm.
pharma, irrespective of the sector, they do a visual based inspection.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you could automate that process where you quickly get an output saying, okay, is something okay, is something not okay. If it's not okay,
Right.
why is it not okay? Is the
Mm-hmm.
dimension not correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is the form factor not correct? So these things. So even bringing in automated visual inspections,
Mm-hmm.
either using smart glasses or even fixed rigs and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
that is essentially what we do, and those are the products that we have on the platform.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for the detailed explanation about your products. It was really nice. And also coming to the induction phase, yeah. So you started in 2019, like it was a pre-pandemic startup, as we could see, and the need also the remote workspace, remote collaboration increased multifolds after the pandemic. So how was it as you could see, how was the pre-pandemic and post-pandemic experience? If you could just give us some glimpses on it, it'll be great.
Yeah, I think the interesting part was we are um, bang 1 month before the pandemic, right? So November
Okay.
2019 was when we incorporated.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you rightly mentioned, the advantages were that there was a need for collaboration-based solutions. There was a need for people to be able to see what somebody else is doing in the other part of the world, and
Mm-hmm.
so there was definitely a need for our solutions.
Mm-hmm.
But the challenge also was that how do we get people to know that we have these solutions? Because we couldn't send
Right. Mm-hmm.
kits out, we couldn't go and meet people, we couldn't provide
Mm-hmm.
demonstrations to people who wanted our solutions,
Mm-hmm.
and we were also in the initial build and test phase. So we couldn't get
Right.
customers to come on board and try it and give us feedback and continuously
Mm-hmm.
evolve the product. So
Mm-hmm.
there were challenges definitely, but yes, there was definitely a need for our solutions as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the pandemic, I wouldn't say it hurt us, but wouldn't say it helped us either. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
neutral ground for us, but it was an interesting experience for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is rightly initiated, and also like that also gives an idea on how was the initial phases. Yeah, as you mentioned, you initiated it and then had some because of the we had this all lockdowns and more. We couldn't meet people in person meetings there, and also how was it? How challenging was it? Like you both were already like in place, the co-founders, etc. But how was the core team? Was it easier? Recruitment, etc. was easier during the phase? Like what were the challenges? If you could just give some points on it, it'll be really insightful.
Yeah, so that was the hardest part, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
have to start a company from scratch, we
Mm-hmm.
say the most important thing is, company culture, making sure
Yes.
everyone is aligned to the same goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that gets very difficult when you're not in the same space.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, definitely, all these technologies like Zoom and things like that help where we could at least
Right.
see each other.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it is difficult. I think, the hiring process was difficult because everything was online.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not that it came to a standstill.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely building that team, inculcating, the core, the values, things like that, that was a little difficult, but I think
Mm-hmm.
we managed to get through. And I think what we didn't expect is to see such a, positive response for what we had built. So
Okay.
in that case, I think, it was also easy to help the team get aligned to
Mm-hmm.
what has to be done because, the customers were chasing us.
Okay.
And I think that I still say today the first 30 customers, these are enterprise customers.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see one customer, it's not that you have one order. It's
Right.
it's it tens or hundreds of licenses that you have. So
Mm-hmm.
our first 30 customers, Arjun and I have still till today not met face to face.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
in the pre-COVID
Mm-hmm.
world, that would be, it's
Yes.
something that was,
Yeah.
it's not normal, So
Mm-hmm.
so I think we were very fortunate to have these large, corporate customers, to
Mm-hmm.
be, come on board, and to trust that we have the right solutions and to go with us.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was certainly a challenge setting up the team together and, delivering
Mm-hmm.
these solutions. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thanks. Thank you for mentioning that. And also, like, we'd like to understand like how it was, which industries like had a peak demand and needs for this extended reality solutions. Like you didn't expect, but they had this need in the pandemic phase, and you had to, work towards providing them, understanding the demands and work towards the same. Was there any such experience you can share with us?
Yeah, so I think the manufacturing sector was the main sort of uh, the sector that we expected, though that we knew the solutions were sort of built towards multiple sectors, and we knew
Mm-hmm.
that manufacturing would be one of the front runners.
Okay.
So definitely they found our products useful because their business had come to a halt.
Mm-hmm.
In manufacturing, they need to do something called final inspections. FAT, a final acceptance test. Without that, they can't send, let's say, very large scale equipment out of their factories. So those things had come to a halt, so their business continuity was getting affected. So using our remote collaboration solution, they were able to carry out remote inspections. So manufacturing, I would say, is a particular sector which really benefited from the solutions that we have. But also, construction, real estate for site inspections, it really, removed the dependency of people to travel, because just using these solutions, you can, whoever's on the
Yes.
spot can connect to multiple people. Um, so yeah, so all these, and training, of course, how does a training institute that has thousands of students in one place, suddenly if everyone is learning from home, how do you, let's say, enable them to do experiments? So, theory classes are okay on Zoom, but how do you give them the experience of a practical class? So that is what our solutions actually enabled. You could do a remote practical lesson where they could, someone could conduct an experiment and they could see that in the first person view of how the experiment was being conducted. So even educational institutes, training institutes, of course, they would use Zoom or whatever for their theory classes, but for their practical classes, they used our solutions.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And also, like, we could see that multiple industries. You had clients from multiple industries during pandemic phase two. That's quite interesting. And what was the initial, like, it was bootstrapped, or you had any incubated in any center in general? How was all our startup? We have this all government-based subsidiaries, funding programs, etc. Like, what was your experience? Did you avail all that, or how was the experience with the government?
So we've definitely been in touch with most of the government programs, but we've not taken any benefits so far from any of the government programs. We were luckily backed by the Meher Group. The Meher Group is a manufacturing industry veteran. They've been in this space for about 45 years, and they're
Okay.
primarily into the electrical components in manufacturing. But then they've been supporting us from day one. So we've been, you could say, bootstrapped by the Meher Group. Zeba and I, myself, we've been lucky enough to have them behind us all the way.
Okay.
Having said that, we were also quite confident in our solutions and how we build it. So luckily for us, from year one, we've been cash flow positive. We've had our solutions go out there, and we've not taken a lot of money. We are now just last week we got awarded by HDFC Capital as part of their real estate capital fund as tech innovators for 2022 in that space.
Okay, that's great. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
Zeba and myself, we got the award from Mr. Deepak Parekh himself. So that's very inspiring for us. Having said that, we're now on a journey to build additional products. We spoke about that. We are now expanding our platform portfolio and bringing in products, especially driven by the need to incorporate AI and machine learning within what we offer. And
Okay.
we're on the path of raising some funds to take a step and move forward in our solution journey. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's quite great. And being early stage startup and already getting awards and awards and positive cash flow from the pandemic cycle. So that's quite a rare story, but also very positive to listen to. And also coming again to as rightly pointed out by Arjun, like you're expanding your portfolio and what's the plans in future? Like, yeah, you would be expanding to other techniques and other verticals, or how are you planning?
Zeba, do you want to take that question? Talk about future journey?
Yeah, sure. So what we want to do is, I mean, we already have our platform, which is, focuses on augmented reality based solutions. So we already have a product roadmap in place where we're going to add, two other products, which will again be SaaS based and very scalable.
Okay.
So those are all around, what we call reality capture. So how do you work with, 3D models? How do you sort of add these AR experiences within your organization? So
Okay.
what we say is how do you, how do you simplify the process of using these technologies in your organization? So the aim is to build products which will enable people to do that. And also we build VR experiences as well as a service right now. So things like virtual walkthroughs. So this could be a walkthrough of a factory or a walkthrough of even, let's say, maybe a real estate project, or it can be a walkthrough of
Okay.
any space, right? So we create virtual walkthroughs of places. We create training simulators. So any kind of virtual experience, that is something that
Navigations also, like navigation facilities.
navigation,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
navigation as well. So that's a very important use case.
Mm-hmm.
So the focus in the future is to add on new products onto our AR platform, and also expand our virtual reality, our VR services as well. And
Okay.
what
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's quite interesting. And also like coming to understand about, as you mentioned, manufacturing sector and the shop floor monitoring is a major use case. And we see, it depends, like it differs in industry to industry, but still the length and breadth of the shop floor itself is, and also the products, the process, schedule delays, equipment status monitoring, etc. Like it are quite comparable and quite similar. Like, do you provide end-to-end whole process monitoring solutions, or is it like specific to the needs and needs of the client? Like, how does it work? Like, platform covers the whole thing from the production till the downstream, or how does it work?
That's a very interesting question, right? I mean, a lot of talk is being had today about Industry 4.0 and the
Mm-hmm.
ability to create digital twins and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
While our solution is something that enables some of the aspects of Industry 4.0,
Mm-hmm.
it is not a one-stop shop. For example, our solution will allow people to look at data feeds from machines, have them in front of them while they're working on the machines themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It will allow people to interact with the data, create a lot of inherent intelligence in terms of how the operator
Okay.
works with them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me, is that a one-stop shop? And if I buy a platform, can I be Industry 4.0 enabled?
Mm-hmm.
No, there are other elements that need to come into place. There's
Okay.
integration with SAP
Mm-hmm.
systems, integration with
Right.
MES systems,
Mm-hmm.
so all of that as well. So our platform, while we started building it, one of the key things that Zeba and myself agreed on was that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have to be a product for a particular industry. We wanted to
Mm-hmm.
try and make it applicable to as many industries as possible, so
Mm-hmm.
that we could maximize the reach that we have from our platform. So while we
Okay.
have elements that are related to the manufacturing vertical, we
Mm-hmm.
also provide the same platform to, for example, the construction
Okay.
segment, and how they use the
Mm-hmm.
platform varies a little bit. But in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, at the back end, the bare bones, the platform is the same. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing the same. And also coming to, summarize and to get some viewpoints, like what was your most rewarding experience? There'd be multiple, but what was from the initial point till now, like a couple of instances, like from each of you, if you could just say what was the most rewarding experience in Zenvis?
So I'll talk about two things. One from a personal perspective, and second one from a professional perspective.
Mm-hmm.
From a personal perspective, the most rewarding thing for me was to come home
Mm-hmm.
and show my kids the glass that we're working on, and
Right. Mm-hmm.
have the kids say that, oh, this is cool technology that you're working on. That's
Mm-hmm.
personally very satisfying for you
Mm-hmm.
to hear that you're working on something cool that the next generation appreciates.
Yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
something that was personally very satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, I think the height of our thing has been the award that we got last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it shows that, with sufficient effort and
Mm-hmm.
putting in the right plan in place, people are going to recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And while we never really started off with an intent to do anything in the real estate or construction segment,
Mm-hmm.
people from that segment are now recognizing the applicability of our solution and how it can be used.
Okay.
So the use
Mm-hmm.
cases are varied. So yeah.
Yeah, quite nice and impressive. Thank you for sharing, Arjun and Ziba.
Yeah, so from my side, yeah, the one point is, common to what Arjun said, which was the
Mm-hmm.
award that we received, the Tech Innovator Award from HDFC Capital.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good milestone and achievement for us, and
Mm-hmm.
validation that what we're doing is, all the
Mm-hmm.
hard work that we're putting in,
Mm-hmm.
so it is, you do get sort of notice for your hard work, and if
Mm-hmm.
you put in the hard work and the dedication, things will follow, so
Mm-hmm.
success will follow. So that was a good milestone. The other thing I would say is, because as a company we started off remotely, right? So we started, at peak COVID. So I think a huge sort of a point of high for me is when we came into our office. So we set up our
Okay.
new office,
Mm-hmm.
and the first day of office when the team came in, I think that was something which was, it felt like, okay, this is real, because up to
Yeah.
that point
Okay.
everyone was on, either Zoom or whatever and talking. And
Mm-hmm.
I think suddenly seeing everyone in one space,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, very a positive experience for all of us. And it sort
Mm-hmm.
of sunk in that, this is what we're doing. And it feels great to have an office to come to and build these things
Okay.
and collaborate together. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's quite nice. Thank you for sharing, Ziba. And also, as Arjun mentioned, like you had this the products, which the hardware part of it. Like, what was like, yeah, it's all inbuilt, or how does that work? Like, where will you provide only the platform, or is it like always integrated, or can they? Is it hardware agnostic? I mean to say, or it's like we have specific hardware IPs and more like for your platforms.
So yeah, we
Yes.
built a platform to be hardware agnostic.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with multiple hardware partners. We don't manufacture any hardware in-house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we work with industry leaders like Epson, Realware,
Mm-hmm.
Lenovo, and we use their hardware. And our platform has been built to work on anything that you need.
Okay.
From a VR perspective, we work very closely on Oculus and Microsoft HoloLens.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, each platform, while the platform is agnostic, each hardware requires a certain amount of tweaking, a certain amount of
Mm-hmm.
testing and deployment on that particular platform. So that is done as and when customer requirements
Okay.
change. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Zeba, please go ahead. We're adding something.
Yeah, so I mean the same thing. So I mean the main aim is to provide an end-to-end solution to our customer, because this
Mm-hmm.
is a new, tech space is new.
Mm-hmm.
These are not mature products in the sense where, it's not something that the customer fully understands, where they can just buy it themselves. So that's why we say we're a solutions company, where we give them the end-to-end solution. But
Okay.
what we build is the software and the platform. So, but
Mm-hmm.
we have, like Arjun said, we have partnerships with hardware providers.
Mm-hmm.
So we integrate everything. We have our software. We use, the hardware depending on what the customer's requirements are.
Mm-hmm.
We give them the end-to-end solution.
Okay.
And we also handle, end user training, and
Mm-hmm.
any kind of support that, they may need. So we understand that that's something that's very critical when you're working on, these kind of new technologies.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Ziba. And thank you for your time today, both of you, for joining and giving very insightful, glimpses about your journey and more. And as a takeaway, we'd like to, ask both of you a few points for aspiring on entrepreneurs and students who like to, start a venture in the space. From your experience, please.
Yeah. I would suggest the first thing that I would say is obviously you got to have belief in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you need to believe in completely, and it is not something that you would experiment with, right? So you either believe it or you don't. So you got to believe in it, and you have to put your heart and soul into it.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that can get you there. It's not going to be an easy journey. I mean, you hear some crazy stories of unicorns and people being valued
Mm-hmm.
at so many billions of dollars,
Mm-hmm.
but not everybody is that. For every one person you hear of that, there are 1,000 other people who've tried and failed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with failing, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
always a job market. There are
Yeah.
jobs available for people with the right experience and the right skills. So
Mm-hmm.
it is something that you need to try. You need to believe in it, and you need to put your effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it happens, it happens. It is something that it all comes down to whether you've assessed the market correctly, whether you've built the right solution, whether
Mm-hmm.
you've depended on the right platform, etc. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Arjun. Ziba, please. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, my advice would be, one, dream big, So there's, don't
Mm-hmm.
limit yourself. Whatever you feel that you can do, you will be able to do if you truly believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing about entrepreneurship is consistency, right? You have to show up every day, irrespective of what happens. Don't
Mm-hmm.
be afraid of failure, So
Mm-hmm.
learn from whatever mistakes you make, and the main thing is to be consistent, show up every day, put in the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, definitely, you will be successful. So I think that's the main takeaway. It's a lot of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
lots of highs and lows. So also, how do you manage that?
Right.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and still, you know, coming back energized and you know, being part of a team that you know, you also need to sort of inspire, you know, everyone around you as a leader as well, you know, to work at the same objective and meet those targets. So I think it's important to always stay positive and be very consistent. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Zeba, and thank you, Arjun. It was really nice to have the conversation with you and to learn more about your induction and about the journey of Xenvis. Thank you for your time today, and we really hope it inspires a lot of youngsters to take up in the tech space and also start their ventures with the ideas and explore in the innovation, in innovation visualizations and more. Thank you
Yeah.
for your time today, both of you, and we really appreciate your support to the series. And yeah, we look forward to having more conversations in future. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Mayuri.
Mayuri.